So I want to briefly talk about the outsourcing aspect on the Swiss market and how much it's changed in the last 4 or 5 years. Well, outsourcing by definition is you give work that you before did internally to like another company or to maybe a cheaper location. And the goal usually is to save cost or buy skills that you internally don't have. Typical example is our clients. They buy our services, our network of talent, because they themselves do not have the core competency to recruit. So typical example would be to outsource certain non-core aspects of software engineering like hosting, DevOps, cloud to another service provider. But I see more and more outsourcing of actually core functionality. It started like, let's say, in 2018, where we would have software engineering positions, technical positions like a senior system engineer, like a person who literally would do not super complicated stuff, but also not trivial stuff, writing bash scripts, keeping things in check with the deployment environment. Yeah, Swiss insurance is making Swiss francs a year. This is like now salaries that do not exist for such roles. Like any salary above 150K is reserved for leadership roles, right? With the exception of big tech, of which in Switzerland, Zurich, they're basically just Google with a couple of thousands of employees. All the other branches of big tech companies or extremely well-funded US companies, US technology companies, they usually have a very, very, very small team. So to get in is basically a mixture of having extreme skill, showing that skill, having some kind of lucky way to get in. And that is the current situation, right? The salaries, the really, really, really highly paid salaries, they're not, existing anymore. So where do they went? Well, for the bigger players, literally, they were outsourced to cheaper Eastern European countries, and that is the sad reality we live in. Or, I mean, for some it's not sad. Obviously, it depends on where you sit on the table during COVID. Also, obviously, the market changed quite a bit to more home office, being like full time at home first, and 2 days back into the office. Now I have some insight into like traditional Swiss companies where it definitely is back to 3 to 4 days in the office. You see it in the news everywhere. Some people don't want that, right? So then companies also play with the idea, okay, like let's outsource, right? Startups definitely already, like a couple of my clients, they have positions opened in Eastern Europe, and they would not do that like 4 years ago-ish. Right, they would always have the whole team in Switzerland, maybe play with the idea to have some roles that are not so critical, like for example, a team that does like UX research of their app, to have them in maybe Portugal. But now it's like, okay, a whole engineering team in Portugal, right? This is like a different type of situation entirely. So now the question goes, okay, so what do senior software engineers or software engineers in Switzerland, what is their situation right now? And I would say it's something that I have not seen before in the last 10 years. It is a situation where, Java, German-speaking people who would be generally very, very seen very favorable by the market and usually would get a couple of offers very quickly. They would sit on unemployment benefits. And these benefits, they usually last 1 or 2 years, I forgot. Definitely not very short, right? So definitely not very short. And what is the effect of that, right? The effect is that on the one hand, people wait to get a proper opportunity like the one they had before. Like for example, if somebody made 140K, they want to make like 135K maybe, but some really, really cannot. Basically, they claim they cannot live on like 120K, right? And the unemployment benefits, how they work in Switzerland, capped at 150K times 80% or 70%, depends on how many kids you have, if you're married or not. That means you end up basically getting for the government like a 125, 120K CHF salary for basically sending I believe 4 job applications a week or something. And obviously the government unemployment workers, they don't really know like which position actually fits to you. So basically people like, they would send out just to have 4 applications. It's basically like a very crude way to force people to like show job seeking activity. So you can fake that very easily. There's like basically no way to actually force people to like really accept the job. So the recruitment agencies like us at Google.com Recruitment end up in the situation that literally we have people, they earn 140K. We say, okay, this is like a 120K job. The company likes you, you like the task, the team, the company size, the everything, but you do not like the salary cut. I mean, the salary cut is not like, going from 140K to like 80K. This I would understand, or something like along those lines, right? Where it's clear, okay, yeah, I get it. You can't go down like from that much. But like taking into account taxation, right? Like at 120K compared to 140K, you are actually not that much worse off. The situation, but everybody's different. I understand people. Like if I would be in the situation, I'd probably do the same, right? I want to like exactly the same I had before or better. And in the last 10 years of us running the recruitment agency, it was basically almost always the case that we managed to. Well, this was our unique selling proposition, right? Like you get a better job if you talk to us. But now that's not always the case anymore. And we end up basically competing to unemployment money, right? For 1 year, for 2 years. So like until whatever, 26, we'll have a bunch of people where we have to like, we will hear this, that like, hey, why should I go work 2.5 hours a week if I could just like send 4 job application a week to show my intent to find a job and well, just wait it out. And what I also heard is like, I'll just do my hobby side project and try to turn it into a business and this and that. And then I listen to the story, what side business is. And I'm like, all right, I mean, this is very, I'm not an expert obviously on businesses, but maybe I am, I don't know. I've heard just so many startup stories, and I run my own business for 10 years. Basically, here the probability of that is like very low, but they can like do it because they are like on a government-funded, basically venture capital program, right? When I started my recruitment agency, it went like this. I like quit I told my boss first, okay, I will take a 40% tax salary cut. I'll work only 3 days a week, and I'll try it out. Is that okay to run the recruitment agency? And the company I worked for was a very kind Swiss employer, and they were like, okay, sure, as long as you do your work, it's fine. Because in Switzerland, you have to tell your employer in the moment you're like attempting to make money or you're making money. So I did that. I did everything clean, right? And then the agents started to run surprisingly well in 2016, 17. Yeah, I just said, okay, thank you for this great 3 years or what it was, and I'll do my own thing now. Is this okay? And yeah, sure. Should we let you go formally, or do you want to cancel the job? I'm like, what does it matter? And the CEO was like, well, if we let you go, then you get unemployment benefits. And I'm like, all right, but I don't need it. It's fine, right? So if I would have been essentially not so dumb, yeah, I should have just taken the free government money to fund my agency based on that, and not say no to that, because this is apparently what people do. So I obviously did not do that, because that is, I guess, my personality, and I wanted to not deal with that government stuff like filling forms and use the time to actually talk to clients and candidates to generate revenue and then pay taxes on that, right? Apparently, this is something that is kind of rare nowadays. That, this especially in Europe, I feel that especially people who really, really, really I don't know, they're really good at understanding the government benefits and grabbing them. So I'm obviously quite bad at that, but if you want to survive in today's world, I guess you have to be a little bit like that. Otherwise, you'll be just outcompeted, because otherwise other people just get the government crutches and you don't. So basically, probably this is one of the moments where I did the help. And this goes back to the situation, okay, what is the outsourcing of the market right now? This is the same stuff, right? So people get outsourced. They don't complain. They don't change their behavior, right? They like get the government money and they write on social media that like remote is the best and stuff. But like, what will be the situation in 2 years, right? So the question for me is, okay, will there be like, a significant number of senior software engineers or software engineers still in Switzerland if like all the startups and even and the larger companies decide, okay, all right, we'll just outsource this to like cheaper locations? Or will we, like, our recruitment agency also switch to like having more roles with like project management, SAP and all this stuff? So my question is, all right, is this like now the future? That's one of the reasons we actually changed the name from CoderFit to like recruitment, because to make it more general that we do like all kinds of roles, not only coders. Because coders, sadly, are less and less a part of Switzerland. So I leave you on this sad note, and hopefully in the next show we can have a more fun conversation.